Hello, namaste. So I just want to do a really quick video today of just some general observations that I think, this boils down to like common sense, really. I'm not sure why people have really, why nobody has any common sense anymore. And I'm just proposing these questions because people really need to start thinking, and people need to ask more questions in general. And I know that like this whole thing of asking questions has been part of the programming. If you go to anybody that has gone through school and done, go to school, get a job, and just followed the pattern that was already set there for us, there's a lot of dumbing down in this pattern. And part of this dumbing down is to basically criticize you and ridicule you if you are one of those kids that ask questions. I remember when I was in school, like years ago, asking a question was something that you just didn't do. You didn't you didn't question the teacher. You didn't question authority. You didn't ask, well, why are we doing this completely useless thing? You just didn't do it. And if you did do it, then the teacher would most likely criticize you in front of other students, and then this would make you feel inferior, and so on and so forth. So people have kind of got this fear of asking questions for fear of being ridiculed, because basically these are, programs that have been instilled inside of us, since we were 6 years old. Even before that, even when we were kids, questioning our parents, well, why am I eating this? Well, because that's what's for dinner. Well, why is this for dinner? You have to keep following the questions until you get a suitable answer. So just a few questions that I want to propose today, and hopefully like some people will start to think. I mean, there's like more and more people waking up. Now I read a thing today on Yahoo Deutschland, which is the Yahoo Germany, which is like 1 in 5 people are no longer believing the media. So this is like 20%. So that's actually, a pretty positive number, I think, because the numbers seem to be getting up there. But there's still like a lot of people that just, I mean, I'm not sure what happened, if they're just like completely, like their brain is just like a stone. I mean, or if they have any kind of reasoning capabilities at all. I mean, I'm not sure. It's really hard for me to fathom that these things are still going on out there, with the masks and the gloves and all of these things, and nobody's like even questioning. I mean, some of these people are just like, they're just still convinced, even with all the evidence we have now, that this whole thing has been, basically a scam. So I just want to propose these questions. So people wear masks to protect them from this so-called virus, but some of these people are still smoking cigarettes that would increase their chance of cancer or emphysema. So this is already like a contradiction. Like, I'm afraid of a virus, but cancer, no fear. Okay. Why do you wear gloves when you're going around on the bus or the train or any public transport, but you go into a public restroom placing your butt on a toilet seat that probably hasn't been cleaned for a week? And you may say, oh, but I put the little piece of paper on the toilet seat to protect me from the bacteria and germs. Do you really think that really super thin piece of paper that rips the minute you sit on it is going to protect you from the bacteria that's been living underneath the toilet seat and on the rim of the toilet bowl, which probably has not been thoroughly cleaned actually for more than a week, quite possibly months, at least from some public restrooms that I've seen? You stay at home to avoid bacteria and germs. But what about the thousands of bacteria that live inside your gut? And what about the thousands of germs that live on your body? What do you do to avoid those? You criticize others for not wearing their mask in public, but you cannot see for yourself that you've stepped in dog crap. And why is it that you've never studied the human body and have no idea what side your liver is on, but all of a sudden you're an expert at the coronavirus after watching only 2 months of Channel 4 News? You're also automatically an expert on vaccines, but you have no idea the ingredients inside of one. Why are you buying into this idea of this cashless society? Because, of course, you know this virus lives on everything, including cash, but yet you are most likely sitting on these if you have upholstered furniture, breathing these in if you have carpets, and sleeping on these every single night if you use a mattress or any bed pillows. You are also most likely eating this if you are still eating meat. Not only does this concern meat eaters, but vegans alike. Yes, vegans, we too may eat the occasional piece of feces in our food. You also claim to be a financial expert, but you have less than $2 in your wallet. And why is it that you've also never spoken to your neighbor and would not even recognize them if they were sitting on their porch, but you know absolutely everything about Britney Spears, whom you've never met? And why is it that you sterilize everything in your home when it comes to being clean, but you do enjoy the community pool or the hotel pool where thousands of kids pee every single day? So these are just a few questions to make people start thinking. You know, take some of these and just, there's thousands more that we could ask. We have to use these questions as a reminder that we need to look at ourselves first. We need to understand that we're all students here. We need to understand that we know very, very little of how anything works. Most of the information that we have that is scientific is based on theories and ideas. And most of this isn't even proven. You know, if you look back into cigarettes, even in the 1970s, there were doctors that promoted cigarettes saying, no, they're good for your health. Well, what do we know after 50 years of research and study? We know that they actually kill you. It's the same thing, you know. Even meat and animal products and these kind of things, you know, they're finding slowly but surely that these things are having disastrous effects on our health. So we need to ask questions on everything, and we need to know that nobody has the magic answer on anything at all. We need to practice mindfulness and truth in all that we do. For example, if we don't know something, we shouldn't just blurt it out saying that we know it. We should say, well, this is what I think I know. This is what my research has brought me to believe or has brought me to think, but maybe it's not the right answer. And maybe you do have really strong evidence to point you in a certain direction. But even that should not shut you off completely from looking at other options. It is a fact, however, the more research that we do, the more that we will eventually find the correct answer. There are correct answers out there that have been proven. And sometimes we just need to do a little more digging to find those answers. What really irks me the worst, however, is people that think that they have the answers, but they've never even done the research. Never. I mean, I've spoken with people that they have one source, literally one source of information, and they believe that that one source is the 100% truth, and they do not budge from that for anything. And this is wrong. You know, this is a wrong way to deal with this. We have to look at multiple sources of information at all times. Practicing mindfulness also, you know how we're speaking, how we're acting, how we are with others. We need to work. This is why I always say that we need to work on ourselves first, because we're always throwing criticism and blame at other people, but we don't even know ourselves, like the example before, we don't even know ourselves that we've walked through dog crap. There's like such a high level of hypocrisy in the world today. The doctor that you go to that tells you shouldn't smoke, but then they go out for a cigarette on their lunch break. Well, how are we supposed to believe people that are not walking the walk and talking the talk? They not only have to be correct in their speech, but they have to provide the correct action with what they're speaking. People are just like shouting out things without even knowing what they're saying. They have no idea that they're not making the connection with what they're thinking and what they're saying. And then especially not even what they're acting. So I just want to put that out there. More critical thinking is really definitely needed. More questions. The society that we live in now, we just have to question everything. I mean, really everything. What's in our food? Where did it come from? Why are we doing, especially the why question. Why are we doing certain things? And we have to follow the why. We have to continue to follow it to understand where the root of the question lies. And once we get to the root, then we can start to make some progress. There was an example, there's a story of a child that had asked her mother, and I don't want to promote like eating turkey, but I just want to use this story as an example. The child had asked her mother, well, why do you cut the legs off the turkey prior to putting it in the oven for Thanksgiving? And the mom said, well, that's just how we've always done it. We always just cut the legs off prior to putting it in there. And the child obviously wasn't satisfied with that answer. Well, what do you mean? That's just how we've always done it. This answer of that's how we have always done it is unfortunately a very common answer in our society. And at that, people just kind of close themselves off from any further discussion. But this is exactly the kind of answer that we should continue to pursue. So the child wasn't convinced, so she asked her grandma, well, Grandma, why do we cut the legs off of the turkey prior to putting it in the oven? And the grandma said, well, because simply the oven isn't big enough. But the mom didn't know, and had the child just simply accepted the answer from the mother, she would have continued to follow that tradition of just cutting the legs off for possibly no reason at all, because simply, as we know now today, buying a bigger oven would provide space to put the turkey in the oven with the legs still on, for just a trivial example. So that being said, if you have any other questions, I would love to hear them here. If you have any other questions, you can go ahead and put them in the comment box below. And if you want to follow the channel, go ahead and follow, hit like if you like, and ask more questions. Namaste.